Hello everyone, welcome back to Project Ozone Reloaded Titan Mode. You're watching episode 32, I believe. Today's episode, I want to do a build mostly, not a whole lot of questing. I am going to get just a little bit out of the way. And one of the builds is going to give us a simple achievement thing, and it's got something to do with this floor. So, let me go upstairs and prepare a couple of things. And while we're doing that, we'll talk just a little bit about what is sort of going on between episodes, which really is not a huge amount. I have done some quests. In the Pneumaticraft and Mechanism one, I did get Demon Steel Tier 6 and 7 completed. Having the Energy Condenser Mark II made this pretty easy. I just converted a whole bunch of junk into basically Demon Steel and crafted the materials. Junk like these appliances, for example. If we come over here to the energy condenser, we can see I've just got it set to making diamonds. There is an export bus here from the ME system that is getting rid of certain types of junk. These are continuously coming in, mostly from loot bags, and I'm just getting rid of them. So, but let's throw these appliances in here because I don't want them. I threw a chance cube in there too. No big deal. So I've been cleaning up a lot of stuff. I've been actually using it to craft a few things. One of the things that I used it to craft was, oh, I guess I should have gotten this reward bag too. In the Ada chapter, I have finished all of the storage things. Rather than waiting on lasers to make all those pulsating chipsets, I was able just to tell a energy condenser to make processors. And when you make the processors in advance, then it's very easy to craft those. So that one was even worth a full heart. 2 full hearts. I actually have not been dying very much in this game, so how many hearts do I have now? Looks like I'm up to 21 lives. Let's take a look at these bags. 2 of them are legendary. A green heart, that was very nice. Teleporter frame and teleporter. These are from Mechanism. I have not used them before. And then the greater one has Spectre Glass, White Spectre Block, Blue Spectre Block, Red Spectre Block. Okay. I'm going to put these away, and I'm actually going to go ahead and I've got the recipe set up for the greater heart canister here. Let's just use that heart. So, green heart canister, and I will pop it in right here. So when I heal up, I should be up to, I guess, 32 hearts. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so today's build is going to be one of the simple achievements. And it's also going to satisfy a certain need that I've had. I'm generating a lot of energy, and I'm going to be generating a lot more. And I've got those 2 diesel generators downstairs that are providing most of the energy for the plant, for the base rather. And I don't actually have, the problem I'm finding is that I don't actually have a good grasp of how much energy I'm using and how much I'm producing. So I don't really know when I need to start looking hard at upgrades. I don't, and I'm going to need to because I'm going to start using RF tools some, and I'm going to have a continual supply of energy to do that at high levels. I'll probably be running an ender quarry some additional quarrying. I've got to have a better grasp on how much energy I've got. I also don't have great storage for energy. I've got this vibrant capacitor bank over here, and there are a few others around that are just sort of doing conversion between the low voltage cables and the high voltage ones for Ender IO. I'm calling them voltage, but it's not really voltage. Anyway, I've got to take and sort of rework some of my energy. Well, if we come over here to the simple achievement books, there is an achievement for store power in a 5 by 5 by 5 vibrant capacitor bank. And 125 vibrant capacitors sounds like quite a bit. You'd be crafting for quite a while to make them here in the QED, but you're not crafting for a long time to make them here in the Energy Condenser Mark II. So I've already made a bunch of those down, and I've got them downstairs in a box, and they're just waiting. While I'm here, let me see if there's anything else in here that I've done, because I just don't remember all that often to go and do this. I can make all the carrots, but I haven't done it yet. Um, let's see. 10 billion RF per tick, certainly not. Mechanisms, lasers, lots of RF. I don't think that I've got a whole bunch of this stuff going just yet, but a lot of it is going to start to become a little easier. I am going to need to do a couple more quests here that I just remembered. It's nothing huge, but I do want to go ahead and get it done. It looks like I haven't done any of those yet. The thing that I forgot last episode was I talked about it and I made the machine. You might recall that I made this neutron collector and said it would take a few minutes to make one, and in a few minutes we would go pick it up and complete the quest. Well, I never actually did that. So it's been accumulating them and just sticking them in this chest over here. I've got 51 of them right now. Let me go ahead and toss one of these in here, so all future ones will go into the ME system. And come in the quest book and go ahead and mark that one done. So right there, that one's done. Now because I do have that many of them, I can go ahead and do the next quest too, which is to make a nugget. A nugget is basically a block of those. So let me come up here, and this is a detection task. The next one for an ingot is a crafting task though, but that's fine. Let me come over here and make a compacting drawer. I actually have one handy, and I'll come over here and just plop this thing down and quickly put that in there before something else gets in it. Didn't quite make it. Oh! Alright, we'll do this the hard way. If I take and put the compacting drawer down, like that, I can get the key out and lock it. So it's locked now. I could use packing tape for this, but I happen to have a cardboard box handy. So let's use that. Actually, let me go ahead and put the neutrons in it. They're going to go right there, and this is going to have the opportunity to just automatically convert them into the upscaled forms. It's a little bit of being an optimist to do that, because I'm probably not going to have that many on hand anytime soon. Although, I'm going to build a bunch of those machines, and when I do, I will have quite a few more. Okay, got my cardboard box back, and put the key in the box away, and stuff all this other stuff in there that had no business stealing into my inventory like that. And I need a nugget, so let's just pull one nugget out of there and finish the nugget quest. Now there's still not enough in here to make an ingot, so I won't be doing that just anytime soon. Probably, maybe next episode, really. I say no time soon, not this episode. Okay, a good bag and a greater bag. Chance cubes. Small wizard tower ruins. Still haven't done anything with those towers. I've got a few of them now. Okay, so running downstairs. Now that that's out of the way, let's start on this build. What I need to do is build a 5 by 5 by 5 cube out of vibrant capacitor banks, and this cube will need 125 of them. Now I have 125 of them crafted here, and one thing I have noticed with vibrant capacitor banks is that they seem to be just a little buggy. Sometimes when you deal with them, and I think it may have to do with having the wireless charger running, I've removed the wireless charger for the moment, you'll find that you get the default capacity on it instead of the souped up capacity from the mod pack. We don't want that. We want the high capacity. So as soon as I put this down, I am going to check it and make sure that we've got high capacity. So we should have a lot more than that. That says 750,000 and we should have 500 million. So something is wrong here. See, this other one says 500 million. Let me come over here and see what we got. That one, 750,000. Do both stacks say that? Yes. So I'm not sure what's going on here, but I'm going to have to fix these. And I think this actually may damage the RF value on them too, so, or the EMC value. So I might have a little bit of a problem here. Let me do it without putting them in a chest this time. Maybe that will make a difference. And you put them down, and now this one, they have different EMC values now. So the ones that I had before have higher EMC value. They both still say that they store all that power, but they just don't do it. It's not very reliable, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But I can come over here and make another one. So I'm going to need one of those and two of these. Actually, just one of those and four of these. And then I'm going to need a block of redstone, and I'm going to need conductive iron, and electrical steel, and dark steel. And I'll just grab more of that than I need so that I can make up my EMC total. Alright, so as before, we need a basic capacitor bank. And let's just go ahead and pop this in here. And I'm going to make several of them, so we'll just toss those in there. Okay, so I've got 21 basic capacitor banks, and I'm going to take several of these, and I've gone through this process multiple times now, and I just don't want to do it again where I have to actually make the capacitors in the machine over here, so I'm just tossing a couple in the AE system so I don't have to do that in the future. Okay, so this is for the capacitor bank, the middle tier one. So I've got one of those. I'll put that in here. And I'm going to need two of them. I'll just put it in there that way. Okay. Now that I've got those, we'll come over here and get the higher end one. Which is like this. Alright. Let's take, for the moment, let me get a chest. Now the one that I just crafted is the one that's on my toolbar. Let me put the others in here for the moment. Did I actually... Yeah, I've still got a capacitor bank in there. I want to store one of these in the AE system. Alright, so let me put this one down, and we'll look at the capacity. and this one holds 500 million RF. So let's pick it up, and I will take and put it in here, and we'll put that in there. So this has this item memorized on the bar, and we produced this one over here. So let me put the one that it produced out and check it. It's only 750,000 there, or actually 750,000 RF total. Alright, so that did not get me what I wanted. It still says a half a billion on the toolbar, but it's not a half a billion. Let me get this vexing problem worked out, and I will be right back. There is something going on. It has something to do with storing it in a container maybe, or having something happen with it. These are just very buggy. It likes to convert between the two forms, and until I get it figured out, I'm going to build the big one, but I want to build the good big one. So let me take and get all that deciphered, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I got it all. I basically redid it, and I made very sure that I didn't actually ever place it and pick it back up at any point in the process. I went ahead and placed them here to make sure that I had them done. It was actually pretty easy to place them. I mean, once you put one of them down and you verify that it's the one that you want, you can just use the builder's wand to finish a 5x5 cube of them. So we've got the big cube now, and it's time to start hooking things up. And so what I want to do with this is, let me see where I've got the conduit running through the ceiling. So I've got it right there. I didn't bring any conduits. I've got some here in the system though. I did actually install a terminal on this floor. I still haven't done the quest for the wireless one yet. Probably won't do it this episode, but I really kind of need to get that done some point. Okay, so we're going to go right in here. And I'm just going to connect this up to right there. And I'm actually going to go ahead and tell this that this is an output only. Incidentally, the total amount of power that this stores is 62.5 billion RF. So that's quite a bit. And we can see that it's drawing out what it put in earlier, and that's fine. So now what I need to do is I want to take the outputs from these generators and connect them up to here. I didn't do that first because I need to make sure that everything in the base sort of stays running. I don't have any power buffer on the AE system because I haven't done the power upgrade for it, so I definitely don't want to mess that up. So let me just go ahead and come over here, and I'll take and disconnect those so that they look a little neater here. I'm going to take this and string it straight across here all the way to the big capacitor bank. And it's a little hard with flying because the frame rate is not great. I'm not as badly lagged as I have been in a couple of occasions recently. It's nothing like the Britannia area, but it's not perfect. Okay, so now this one I'm actually going to go ahead and set to insert only. So we've actually got an arrangement now where more or less I can disconnect the diesel generators because I've got all of their power going in through here, and it goes straight back into the main power network through all the cabling in the ceiling. So let me go ahead and disconnect these over here and clean up all this cable. I'll be back. I'm going to move these tesseracts on top of the big capacitor. Okay, I've cleaned up all of my cables. I moved the tesseracts on top. I had to run a power cable under the floor from the capacitor to this fluid transposer to make sure that it stayed powered, because I needed to get that cable completely out of the way because of the next step in the build here. Now, this is going to take a long time to fill up, so I'm about to build something that I'm not really going to be able to test on camera because it's going to take a very long time to completely fill this thing up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the build and we'll test it later. One of the issues that I've got with this particular arrangement is I've got two of these generators, and as you can see, they're both running right now. And that's as it should be because we need to fill up the big capacitor. But they were both running before, and they appear to be running all the time. Now, I don't know what happens when one of these fills up. I'm just not familiar enough with immersive engineering's multi-blocks in order to say definitively, yes, these things use the minimum amount of fuel. They only burn fuel when they're generating power. But I think actually they would have to burn it in whole millibucket units anyway. So I'm not really sure how it's handling it, how they're buffered. There's no user interface on these to actually give you an idea of that. Now, one of the things you can do, though, is you can control these with redstone. And what I want to do with them right now is I want to shut them down as the capacitor bank fills. Essentially, when we get about probably 3/4 full or so, I'd like to shut one of them down, and I'd like to shut the other one down when we're close to full. Not quite, but close. And the reason is because there is some other power gen over here that doesn't use the same sort of resources, and eventually there'll be power, there'll be passive power, there'll be nuclear, some other stuff, and this is not going to be the final power storage solution. There are some others that we're going to have to build that store enormously more power than even this huge block. But I would like to go ahead and get started with controlling things a little better. I'd like to be able to tell when things are going, when they're both running. I'd like to be able to see it easily, even if I turn particles off. If you turn particles off, you don't see this thing at all. You do still see the fan running if you look really closely, but I don't think that's it's just not what I'm looking for. So to do that, I want to control all this stuff. So that's the next part of this build. So I'm going to use a redstone comparator on this capacitor bank so that I can tell when it's getting full. And that's actually pretty straightforward. That's how it works. The vibrant capacitor bank will emit a redstone signal proportional to how full it is, in the range of, I guess, 0 to 16 or 0 to 15. And these immersive engineering things, I don't know a huge amount about them, but I do know that they're controllable with redstone signals. You can turn them on and off that way. So if I take, the sensor is this little red dot here on the side. If I place this block of redstone on that dot, you will see this engine turn off. Just like that. So it's now off. And of course, if I remove it, it'll turn back on. And that's because a redstone block emits a continuous redstone signal. Okay, so how am I going to program the logic on this? Well, I'm actually going to go ahead and use the Mind Factory Reloaded programmable redneck controller. I've used it before in my Hoarder's Delight series. I've mostly avoided using it in the other series, FTB Infinity Evolved Skyblock. It's a little bit complicated to use sometimes. I've also found that sometimes these cables don't work. In the Hoarder's Delight series, I had a number of crashes. I found that cables were emitting redstone signals that covered more blocks than I intended. So I don't want to deal with that, but I am going to use it here. I think this will be a pretty straightforward case for doing so. Let me go ahead and hook up some cables here. And I don't need that one. I'll have to try and get rid of that in a minute. They're a little hokey to, there are several of these things I'm going to have to get rid of, it looks like. Okay, and I'll just connect this up to the back. Now, I can just use the wrench to get rid of these, I believe. I'll just have to wrench them a few times. And that's the sensor, so I want to keep that one. And I don't need it to connect to this pipe. Okay, so I should have the connections I need. I've got one connection to the redstone comparator, and I've got a connection to each of these sensors over here. I am going to do 2 more connections. I'm going to go ahead and put some redstone lamps here. This will make it easy to see when the thing is running if I have particles turned off. So I'll just put a lamp there and a lamp there to indicate that these things are powered. Now I want to go ahead and probably change the colors from the default. There's actually no problem with the way this is set up right now. You can do everything on the white channel because the white from the bottom is different from the white from the back. But if I come over here and it looks like, let's make this one orange. And I'll need to do the same thing at these that are a little bit hidden now. So that one's orange, and then this one's orange. And I'm just taking and wrenching that tiny little colored blip that you see there at the end. So these will take signals on the orange channel. This thing has 16 different channels associated with colors that it can have signals on. And each side is of the redneck controller itself is independently operable that way. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to look at the signal from here, and the signal from this one is going to come in on white, and if the signal is low, that means that the capacitor bank is empty, and if the signal is all the way up to 15, that means that it's full. So what I want to do is I want to probably use a greater than, and for the first one I'm going to say that it needs to be about half full. So I'm going to be looking at the input on the down side of the controller. This is IOD, that's input output down, and we're looking at the white channel because this is white. And the thing I want to compare it to, so this is A and B are the things being compared. So I'm comparing the input on the white channel, and I'm going to compare it to the constant, let's just say A. And if A is greater than B, then what I want to do is I want to output a signal, and I'm going to output it on the back, and this says the white channel. Let me make one little change here. I put these on the same color, but I'm going to need a different color for these because I want them to start and stop at different levels. I want this one to run more than this one. So let's go ahead and put this one on the white channel. Well, you gotta go all the way through them. There we go. I don't know if maybe shift will do it in reverse. Yeah, it will. Okay. And I think actually I'm going to want to invert these redstone lamps. Do I remember how you invert a redstone lamp? You probably don't. Okay. I will figure that out some other time, I think. Okay, so we're not getting a signal there on the white channel, but we would right now if we were greater than 5 on this thing, or 8. Now, I want to go to the next tab, in here, and this one is going to also be a greater than, and it's also going to be accepting white on the bottom, but this time we're going to compare it to 14. So if we are 14, actually let's use greater than or equal. If we're 14 or higher, then I want to go ahead and output a signal, and we're again going to do it on the back, but this one's going to be the orange. So I think, unfortunately I can't really test it until this capacitor bank gets more full. What this should do is it should shut this one down when the power level reaches a certain point. If the power level continues up to the point where the capacitor bank is mostly full, it will then shut this one down as well. And that should conserve my gasoline. And I will probably have to come back and confirm or fix this if it's not set up right, because it is hard to test in this particular scenario. But I think that's what we're going to need. And unfortunately, I need to invert these lamps. I'll have to probably just pick some other kind of lamp that's invertible and make it so that they are powered on if the machine is running, because that's what I want. We're actually going to be changing the signal so that it's got reverse sense. So we give the machine a signal to turn it off, and so we also want to turn this light off if it receives a signal. So I think that's going to do it for today. I did get this done. Let's go ahead and, before I go, and mark it in the book, because I did get my vibrant capacitor bank built, even if the rest of the build has to be reviewed a little bit later on to clean it up some. We did get the store power in a 5x5x5 vibrant capacitor bank. It's not full yet, but it will eventually be close to full, and I will have plenty of power, and I will be able to tell based on that how close I'm getting, because if that thing fills up and then starts to empty, I know I need to build some more power. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please feel free to like, subscribe, comment, or share. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next episode.